kita berjalan, bersediakah kita? Nak tunggu apa lagi? Mari berjaya bersama Dinamik. Waktu kita berjalan, bersediakah kita? Nak tunggu apa lagi? Mari berjaya bersama Dinamik. Waktu kita berjalan, bersediakah kita? Nak tunggu apa lagi? Mari berjaya bersama Dinamik. Waktu kita berjalan, bersediakah kita? Nak tunggu apa lagi? Mari berjaya bersama Dinamik. Waktu kita berjalan, bersediakah kita? Nak tunggu apa lagi? Mari berjaya bersama Dinamik. Waktu kita berjalan, bersediakah kita? Nak tunggu apa lagi? Mari berjaya bersama Dinamik. Waktu kita berjalan, bersediakah kita? Nak tunggu apa lagi? Mari berjaya bersama Dinamik. Waktu kita berjalan, bersediakah kita? Nak tunggu apa lagi? Mari berjaya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. Welcome back to our next series of 1119 with Impa. And tonight you are going to be with me for another slot, a little bit of sharing. And our focus for tonight's session is on how to develop speaking and how to score in your speaking paper. Okay. And supposedly with me tonight is Madam Sahara, but she has got some technical difficulties on her part. So we are going to start without her. And whenever she's managed to deal with her difficulties, then she will definitely going to join us. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's continue. So I would like to see how many of you are online tonight. So can you please write in the comment section there so that I know that you're ready? Hi everyone. I could see that Anissa. Hi Anissa. Hi Afiq. Hi Nisha. Okay. Anyway, I'm sure that in August, most of the school all over Kedah will sit for your mid-year exam. And this year, the question is going to be standardized, okay? And for that, it is very important that you know what to expect for your speaking test and know how to prepare for that test. This applies to Form 4 and Form 5. For my school, Form 4, you will have to sit for all 4 papers this time around, okay? So if you have any concern pertaining to your speaking test or perhaps any confusion, you want me to enlighten you on that, please write in the comment section box. Betul ke? Is it comment section box we call it? In the live chat box. Okay, in the live chat so that I can have a look at it and hopefully I can address those for you. Okay? And allow me to introduce myself. My name is Madam Nur Aiman Ahmad Tajuddin and I'm currently teaching in SMK Khair Johari. Hi KJ students, say hi there. Okay, so now I always tell this to my students whenever you want to tackle anything, if you want to outplay anything, you need to know the game. So, and it also applies to your speaking test. And out of all three parts of the speaking test, I noticed that most of the students struggle in part three, which is the discussion section. With that being said, so our tonight's focus will be on part three of your speaking test, which is the discussion part. Okay, so now let's have a look at what is it that we want to look at whenever you know, do your discussion. So basically, during the discussion part, there are a few things that you need to fulfill. Number one, you'll be given 3 minutes, okay, where you will discuss about a topic and you will refer that based on the mind map given. So the first part, both candidates will be asked to speak on a topic for about 2 minutes with a central focus question and surrounding ideas to help you. The surrounding ideas is the points, okay? You put your bubble map, so we have points there. So those are the surrounding ideas. And then after you discuss those ideas, you then have another minute to make a decision together. So the nature of your discussion, even though it's still a discussion, but the things you're going to be focusing on during that part of the discussion will be different. Number one, you're just discussing things, but number two, you need to discuss in order for you to make a decision. So it's going to be a bit different. And then later, you will have to answer a further discussion task where the interlocutor will ask you, to return the booklet. And then some of you, your teacher might say that this is a kebat question. You will be given 1 minute, okay, where both of you will try to answer the final joint question. Okay, some students, they are afraid of this part because most of them were not able to understand the question, and the fact that you are not given any time for you to think and you are expected to respond almost spontaneously. Some students, I understand that you might feel worried in this part of the test. But whatever problems that we have in the world, there's always a solution. And I hope that by the end of this session, you'll be able to address those concerns and problems of yours. Okay. Now, these are some of the common problems that I noticed from my students. So if you feel like you got, other issues or other problems as well, please write in the live section box so that, we can address those problems. So how many of you here have these issues? You have lots of ideas, you understand the task, you understand the question, but then you don't know how to say it in English. How many of you have these issues? Say, me, teacher. Okay. And then we also have this issue where students, when the interlocutor asks the candidates to speak, both candidates, reluctant to start first. Nobody wants to begin first. Okay. One person will look at the other and then the other person, no. So basically what's going to happen is you akan lawan jeling each other. All right. So we don't want that to happen. And then we also have this problem where the opportunities to speak are not equal. Okay. So you see, perhaps, Amar kata, okay, Amar tak nak mula dulu, and then Hajira start first. And then the moment Hajira started, Hajira do not know when to stop. So when that happened, Amma will feel like, when is my turn to speak? Okay. And some students, because they carry out their speaking test with their best friend, they feel like, they're afraid to interrupt because this is your friend you're talking about. Okay. And then we also have issues where both candidates talk about the same point repeatedly. This happens, I think, mainly because you do not know how to elaborate on other points, so you ended up talking about the same point repeatedly. And for good students, okay, good students have a lot to say, but the problem is they over elaborate, but then they start midway. So we do not want this to happen as well. Okay. So how do we deal with these issues? So far, any other issues here? Yeah. There's always a word from Malay that I forget to say in English. Fari said. Okay, yeah. Let's see how we can help with that. Okay. Now, basically, during the speaking test, what we really want to see is that candidate A and candidate B, you show that you know how to do turn taking and you know how to respond appropriately. Okay, we also want to see that you know how to negotiate with your partner. We want to see that you know how to initiate a discussion, and you must also show that you are able to develop topics. Okay. Now, so what can we do? So, tip number one that I would like to share with everyone here is that you need to be prepared with familiar topics for part three. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to ask boys and girls, we are not going to ask you anything that's not related to yourself. Okay, most of the questions are going to be questions about yourself, okay? About yourself, about your family, about your country, about city. And then we also have topics on consumerism and financial awareness, where you talk about shopping, health environment, where you talk about pollution, green house effects and things like that. And we also have topics on science technology, where you talk about social media, internet, online gaming, and television. So basically, if you really, go through the textbook and you were in lower form, you will notice that actually most of the topics that you learned up until you are in Form 5 are basically, you know, a repetition. Okay, it's a repetition. So you cannot say that you don't know how to talk about these issues, these topics, because it occur every single time, like repeatedly, when you're in Form 4 and Form 5. All right. So if you feel like you are familiar with one topic, what you need to do is, make sure that you can really talk about that. And if you're not familiar about one topic, you must do a little bit more reading and do a little bit more, what do you call that? Group discussion with your partner, so that you can see where you need to develop further. I feel like doing reading and doing discussion with your friends not only help you to build your vocab on this topic, but also develop your understanding about these topics. And it helps you not only for your speaking paper, but also it helps you for your writing paper as well. So you need to discuss, all these familiar topics for part three. Okay, we are going to ask you basically the same questions. Yeah, we just change it a little bit. Now, in order for you to carry out your discussion fluently, um, coherently, you must have a list of useful phrases at your disposal. So, what kind of useful phrases that you need to prepare and that you need to be prepared with? Number one, you need to have useful phrases for you to start discussion. So, whenever you want to start discussion, what do you normally say? And then you also need to have various ways of expressing your opinions. And then you need to also have expression or phrases that you can use whenever you want to justify your reasons. And then know how to ask for your partner's opinion, because we want to make sure that we engage our partner in a discussion. Then only, the bouncing of ideas and negotiation of meaning will happen. Okay. And then you need to also have, a few phrases to show your level of agreement with your partner, because sometimes in this discussion we agree, we disagree, and we partially agree. Okay. I can see here Adam from 4UIA, Zahra Irdina from 5UITM, Shamimi Alia from 5UITM. Okay. All right. Now, yes. Now, to start a discussion, what can you say when you want to start a discussion? Okay, first of all, you can say things like, which one shall we start with? Or what do you think, Bob? Do you mind if I start first? Can I go first, or shall we start now? So, by having these useful phrases to start a discussion, I hope that you know the part where you and your partner looking awkwardly at one another and not knowing who should begin first will not happen anymore. You know how to initiate a discussion. It might look like it's simple, it might look like, this is something very small, but knowing how to initiate a discussion is fundamental in ensuring that you can have a coherent discussion and a really good flow to your discussion. Okay. Now, other than the expressions and phrases that I have listed here, do you have any other phrases that you feel you can use when you want to start discussion? Can everyone please write in the live section box? Other than the one that I have shared here, what other ways that you can say when you want to start discussion? I just remember, shall I start first? Okay, Amar, probably you want to add one more because you've already remembered. Shall I start first? Any other way? Hmm. I can see that we have quite a number of students here, so I would love to see your response there. Please write in the comment section box. What would you say when you want to start a discussion? Which one shall we start with? Yep, but this is the same like I listed here. Do we have any other way? Okay, write in the comment, write in the live section box, okay, so that we can add a little bit more ideas to what we have now. Now, so you know already how to start a discussion. So next step is you need to know how to express your opinion properly so that the examiner, okay, or we call it the assessor and interlocutor, will know that this is your personal opinion. So the one of the way to say that is you can say, I think that, or I don't think that, or I feel that. I would say that I believe that for me personally, I think. So these are some of the more common way of expressing your ideas, like what uh, already listed in your what do you call that, download textbook. So I've just taken this from your download textbook. Okay. You can also say that, when you want to justify your reason, because you see, one, you have already expressed your opinion will not really be that impactful if you're not able to justify why you say so. So it is equally important that after you give your personal opinion, you know how to justify what you have said. So to do this, you can say, I say this because I think this is the case because that's my opinion, or my opinion is because, or my reason for saying this is that, oh, I chose this because. Okay, so these are some of the ways that you can say when you want to justify your reason. You can also say the way I say it, my take on this is, and things like that. So, do you have any other ways that you can justify your reason? Please, please write in the live section box. Okay, if you have any other way that you would normally do when you want to justify reason, write in the live section box so that other people can share the idea as well. Moving on. So you have done that. You have already, okay. My you have already justified your opinion. The next step would be to ask for partner's opinion. Definitely, we do not want you to, dominate the whole discussion to yourself. We want you to engage your partner as well. Then only it will become a discussion. Otherwise, if you are the one doing all the talking and your friends just listening, what will happen is it will look like it is a, what do we call that? A long term task, another long term task. So we do not want that to happen. So make sure that you know when to stop and engage your partner in the discussion so that you make him feel included. So you can say, what do you think? Don't you agree? Hanif, do you have anything to say about that? Please pay attention, Hanif, and stop chatting in the live chat box. Okay. Do you have anything to add to that, or you can say, did I forget anything? Okay. So now this is due to, yep, but that is, to justify your opinion. Okay. Now, after you engage your partner, okay, in the discussion, so let's say I am speaker number two, and then my friend asks me, my partner asks me, what do I think about something? So, how do I respond? So, I need to show that, I can respond appropriately to what my partners have said. So in order to do this, I need to show, the different level or different degree of agreement. So sometimes I agree with my partner, sometimes I disagree with my partner. Okay, sometimes I completely disagree. I partially agree, sometimes I completely disagree. Okay? So if you agree with your partner, you can say, I completely agree with you. I think you are right about that. I feel exactly right about the same, and that's my opinion too. Okay? Or if you disagree with your friend, you can say, I disagree that. I think you might be wrong about that because I wouldn't say that because I don't think that's the case because. So if you notice here, whenever you disagree with your partner, at the end of those phrases is the word because. So with that being said, you know, with that being said, you must bear in mind that if you disagree with your partner, it is not enough by you just telling your partner that I disagree with you. You must also able to give a reason or justification as to why you disagree with your partner. So for the purpose of your exam, I would strongly encourage you not to disagree with your partner, but instead just agree with your partner. Because I feel like, during that particular time, it is a lot easier for you to just agree with your partner. If provided that you have ample practice, enough practice in class, you are more than welcome to disagree with your partner. But if you don't practice this much in class, just agree with your partner. I'm not saying that it is wrong for you to disagree with your partner, but then what I'm trying to say is that when you disagree with your partner, you have to provide a counter argument. And during exam, you don't have the time to think of a counter argument. Most students don't have time to think of counter argument. They say disagree, but then they don't explain why they disagree. So, if you don't explain why, whatever it is that you say feels a little bit irrelevant because of you unable to justify why. Okay? Next, tip number three. So far, can you follow? Or am I speaking too fast? Because I'm like looking at the slide and reading the comments as well. Looking at the slide and reading the comments. So, yep. So yeah, I missed a few things. Okay, so please let me know whether you're okay with the speed. All right. Okay. Now, um, let's look at tip number three. Tip number three is you must make sure that you know how to delegate the task equally. So this is very important. Why you need to know how to delegate the task equally? Because you want to show that and you want to ensure during the speaking test that you and your partner are able to, what do we say, are able to um, equally gain merit. Maksudnya apa? Maksudnya you and your partner, both of you are able to get married and score. Hi, Sahara.
Hi, Aiman. I am here. Sorry for the.
Never mind, we understand the technical difficulties. Don't, that's the
Okay,
thing
thank
with
you.
technology, kan? Yeah,
Okay.
that's the thing with technology. Anyway, we are already here in tip number 3. I was just telling the students that it is very important for them to know how to, delegate the task equally so that both of them are able to equally gain merit. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So what you need to do here is, Fari and Irene, listen carefully, when I'm telling you this, because I will definitely gonna ask you later in school. You know who's gonna be your partner for your speaking test. So starting from today, before the exam, you and your partner decide who's gonna be speaker one and who's going to be speaker two. Okay, so speaker one should be the more fluent one. Yang lebih fasih cakap orang putih tu, you gonna be the speaker one. And the other person will be speaker two. And this is how you're going to delegate your task. When you look at the mind map, this is how you delegate your task. So speaker one will start with point number 1, followed by speaker 2, and then speaker 1 with point number 3, and then speaker 2 with point number 4, and then back to speaker 1 and speaker 2. So this is the flow. So whenever you look at your mind map, you should know that, you know, you should know that this is how the delegation of the task, so that you tak ada lagi problem where both of you are talking about the same point repeatedly, or Irene or Alia walk out of the exam room and then bergaduh pula, why you take my point, so that's my point, this is my point. Bergaduh macam ni like you always do for your paper Bahasa Melayu ujian bertutur. I know that many students, they like to fight tau, Sahara. No,
Yes, correct.
teacher, dia cakap point saya tak tahu nak cakap apa, teacher, blah blah blah, kan. So that happens because you don't delegate your tasks equally. So this is the flow. Okay? So far clear? Letih Sahara weh.
Okay, students, I think I can add. Okay, I just want to ask you, will you complete all 6 points, or will you be able to complete all 6 points during that period of time? What is your opinion about it? Rasanya you boleh tak bincang dan habiskan semua keenam-enam isi bersama rakan anda? If you can't, apa yang you akan buat? Is there any students watching us?
Yeah. The thing is kita delay sikit. Kita ni delay
Okay.
sikit. Yeah. The response to come like after. Like there's gonna be awkward
But
silence.
yes, can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly, so I think they're able
No,
to. So
because I can only get your reply quite after some time, not at the
yeah,
right.
because kita delay, we are not like real time. Kita macam like delay a few seconds, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, 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 okay.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. You don't have to cover all of the 6 point, but I've done this with my many students, and by right, the minimum is like 4 points. Okay, meaning that each speakers are able to cover 2 points. So that would be. Now,
Yes,
so if you
yes,
feel like you cannot cover all six, within that 2 minutes, don't worry. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Actually,
So
it is not. I won't say it is like. I will never say that it is really compulsory for you to.
no,
Talk about all the points,
no.
because in this section we really see how you can negotiate, how
Yeah,
can
yeah.
actually talk with your friend. Okay, ask and reply as how Madam Aiman was explaining earlier. So as what Madam Aiman said, empat isi tu memang cukup cantik you can explain. So if you have time and you can really explain, then go for all the 6 points. So I hope it's
Mm,
clear.
yeah. Okay. So yeah. No need to cover all six, but four is, if you manage to cover four, then we can safely assume that you have sort of a balanced discussion. Okay, if only one person can cover two, another person cover one, then that is not really balanced lah. Okay, all right, moving on. So how to make sure that you can carry out and maintain a discussion coherently, fluently, is by using sora-sora technique. Please make sure that you are clear with how to carry out sora-sora, because I'm going to ask you back in school. Kena paksa, Sarah, nak paksa. Okay, so what is sora-sora? Sora-sora lah actually kan, because why we are so annoyed the fact that many students suara tak keluar during speaking test. Okay, so we want to make sure that you keluar gaya punya suara tu, so we come up with this suara-suara lah. Alright, so suara-suara 1.1 is for speaker 1. So what is it that speaker 1s need to do? Speaker 1s need to first start your discussion. After that, give your opinion, O, and then give your reason, R, and finally ask for your partner's opinion, A. So speaker 1, you only have 4 steps. Start discussion, give opinion, give reason, and ask for partner's opinion. And then speaker 2, what will you do? Speaker 2, you are going to listen to your partner, say again what your partners have said, and agree with your partner's point. So S is for say again and agree. And then you introduce your new point, O, and then you give reason to justify your opinion, R, and then you ask for your partner's opinion, A. So, speaker 2, after you have done all these 4 steps, speaker 1 nak buat apa pula? Speaker 1, you're not going to start discussion lagi lah. You have started the discussion already. So, you are going to say again what speaker 2 have said, and then give your opinion, justify your reason, and ask for your partner's opinion. And you are going to repeat these 4 steps until you completed all the points, or all 4 points. How many you managed to cover lah, okay? So far clear? Please write in the comment section box so that we all don't shock sendiri. What if our partner can't elaborate any of the point? Are we going to speak more to help and balancing it back, or just gonna let them? Okay. Now, you want to address this? I agree with my partner's opinion. It's only cost it's for another government and something.
Okay, so I think I can go with that. Okay, teacher, what if our partner can't elaborate any of the point? Are we gonna speak more? So I will say that if your partner can't explain, he or she should be like, passing the battle to you. Then you proceed with maybe just giving one explanation, then with your point. But don't talk a lot, because maybe your friend have more explanation for other contents. So don't take his or her time.
Yeah. So I think that Irene, what you can do here is, instead of you elaborating the points for your friend, you ask for your friends, prompt your friends so that your friends will talk more. Okay, janganlah you talk sampai kawan dia tak sempat. Like what Cikgu Sarah said just now. So moving on, okay. So actually there are other ways. As long as you know how to do the 4 step, it doesn't really matter how you say. This is just like my suggestions on how you can say those 4 steps. But if you feel like you have any other way of doing it, by all means. So some students, dia ingat, Sarah, this is like fixed. They need to really use whatever it is that I given them. No. What you need to understand adalah setiap step tu, setiap langkah tu. Okay, step 1, step 2, step 3 tu nak kena buat apa, step S apa, step O apa, step R apa, step A apa. As long as you know these steps, whatever way on how you want to fulfill those communicative tasks, you can do that. Doesn't matter. Tak kisah pun. Okay, cakaplah macam mana you nak cakap pun, as long as tahu kata this is you trying to fulfill this 4 step. But Adam, so we have here Aris Daniel. Betul kau nama dia Aris Daniel ni, okay? Aris Daniel, you know that, if you feel like teacher, I tak mau pakai lah yang you suggest ni, you want to use, other ways of doing that, by all means, but plan that starting from now. You plan sendiri what you want to say. If
Yes.
you don't want to say, shall I start, you can say other ways as long as ultimately it shows that you are initiating a discussion. Kalau you tak mau cakap, what I think is that you want to say, if you apa nama, if you don't want to say, what I think is that, sekejap ada orang video call I pula, kacau.
Okay.
Sorry, I tengok
So
video.
I think I will proceed with the thing. Okay, Aiman, are you okay? Do you want to say?
Tak boleh pun nak bunyi daripada tadi. Okay, so give opinion. If you don't want to say these things, you can say the way I say it okay, macam tu lah. Alright. Okay, so now speaker 2, you also have other ways of saying things. Yep, you can refer here if you feel like you want to add. Tapi apa yang nak highlight here is step S. For speaker 2, bila you listen to your partner, you want to say again. Ulang balik kawan you cakap apa. You say again and you agree with your partner. Remember just now I said, if you disagree with your partner, you have got to provide a counter argument. You see, Sharin, during the speaking test, you are going to be overwhelmed trying to figure out what you want to say for your points. So don't add more pressure to yourself by, adding more things that you need to think of. That's why I said, if you just say again and agree with your partner, it's going to be a whole lot easier because you know what your friends have said, and all you have to do basically is just repeat what your friends have said. Ulang balik je kawan cakap apa, and it is, a lot easier. Okay? Sarah, you want to add anything?
No, I think yes. What you say is totally correct, right? So jangan ulas balik apa yang kawan you cakap tu. So you just say you agree, then you pass the thing and you continue with your content.
Yeah.
Sebab kalau you ulas and ulas, then for sure you will not have enough time. You have to remember it's just 2 minutes. It runs very fast.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yes. And always practice whatever like the sora, inside the sora, because if you can't really start with any phrases, then the phrases in this sora would be very helpful for you. So why are you wasting it? Just ingat je benda ni and just proceed. Kan? Kalau there are any thing that you feel very difficult ataupun susah, then you exchange. Tapi you must know what you are going to say. And I think by now you would have practiced with your friends and everyone. So you take, you always practice the same thing. So it's easier when during the real exam, you can just say whatever comes to your mind because you have practiced.
Yep. And yeah, and no need lah, tak payah, because you see, during your discussion, there's no extra marks in, proving that you're right. Okay, I disagree with my friends. I want to prove that I'm right and he's wrong. There's no extra points for that. What we want to see is that your ability to, bounce ideas and respond appropriately to your friend. So even if, you just listen to your friends, or perhaps pretend as if you're listening to your friends, but actually, you're like, ha, 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 but actually you're thinking about your own points. So that's why I feel like, it is a whole lot easier. It reduces your anxiety because you don't have to think of a counter arguments instantly. Okay. All right. So moving on. So let's try. This is a sample question for your discussion. Basically, the interlocutor will say something like this. Online shopping is gaining popularity in our country, and here are some reasons why people shop online and a question for you to discuss. First, you have some time to look at the task. So, ladies and gentlemen, even though you feel like, you know what the teacher is going to say, but please make sure that when the teacher is giving you the instruction, you listen carefully. Because then you will know that, whether or not you have time to think for this particular question. Kalau you tengok soalan ini, you will hear that your teacher will say first you have some time to look at the task. Some students, dia tak dengar cikgu cakap apa. So the moment cikgu tu letak je interlocutor put the booklet in front of them, they immediately want to start their discussion. Itulah kata masalahnya you tak listen. So if you listen, the interlocutor will say that you have some time to look at the task. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because you know that you have time for you to think of what you're going to say, do you know that how much time do you actually have? Berapa banyak masa that you can use to think? Berapa?
How many of you know how long you have to think? Drop your comment. Tak ada orang
How?
komen pun.
I think masuk lambat sikit ni. Okay.
Okay.
So basically you have around 20 seconds for you to think of what you're going to say. So that 20 seconds, you use that to think, let's say speaker 1, you think of 2 minutes, I guess. No, Shaza? 2 minutes is for you to talk, to discuss, to speak. But 20 seconds saja for you to think of what
Think.
you're going to say.
It's
Okay?
very fast.
So within that 20 seconds, speaker 1, what do? Speaker 1 will think of point for number 1. Speaker 2 will think of point number 2. And then later, when speaker 1 have done talking, and while speaker 2 is doing the talking, speaker 1 will think of point number 3. So that is why it is very important that you follow the flow of your discussion. You do this practice, you will get the hang of it, inshallah. Okay, so let's have a look at the sample discussion using, okay, this is the question again. Let's look at the sample discussion of, a discussion using Sora. Would you like to be speaker 1 or speaker 2, Sarah?
I think I go with speaker 1 or 2. Okay, you start
Okay.
first.
Okay, I start first lah.
Okay, I start. Okay.
Okay,
Shall I
let's
start
do that.
first?
Yeah,
Shall I
sure.
start first?
Yeah, sure.
I feel people like to shop online because there are no crowds. I say this because if we go shopping during Hari Raya or Chinese New Year or Deepavali, there will be a lot of people, but if we shop online, that will not be a problem. What do you think?
Well, Sarah, I completely agree with you. Well, as you said, some people shop online because they don't like crowds. But I think time saving is also a reason why people shop online. My reason for saying this is because some people are very busy with work and they don't have time to go shopping. Don't you agree with me?
I was just thinking that I agree that time saving is why people shop online. But if you ask me, people also shop online because they can get better prices because there are many sales online. Do you have anything to add?
Okay, so here, boys and girls, you'll be able to see that for you to do step S is so easy. Basically, like piece of cake. Step O, giving your opinion, is basically there on that mind map. What more can you ask? Step R. Step R is the only step where you have to think of your own idea. So that 20 seconds will be used for you to think of reason and only reason. And then step A, asking for your partner's opinion. Takkan susah sangat kot. Yang you nak kena fikir-fikir banyak sangat. So basically, using that 20 seconds, yes, walaupun dia pendek, but all you have to do is think of reason. So, that is not that hard anymore, isn't it? Okay?
Okay, can I add here something?
Yeah, sure.
Because I do this with my students. Okay, this is totally for those who are very weak in English. Okay, let's say you do not know how to explain. Kalau you tak tahu macam mana nak explain, I ada 3 cara untuk pelajar saya. Saya terang kat mereka. So, yes, or you just follow because it's already in the bubble. So for R ni, saya gunakan 3 perkataan. So they can choose whether it's interesting, popular, or one more is famous. I mean like popular or famous. And also important. So there are 3, eh? Important, famous, and interesting. 3 perkataan ni dia akan letaklah dalam ingatan dia. So if let's say they really cannot or they do not know how to speak properly, so they will always use these 3 words to come up with the reason. So example, I feel people like to shop online because there are no crowd, right? I say this because it is what you can use. No
Because it's
crowd.
interesting.
It's
Because
interesting.
it's
Yeah.
interesting. Because it's famous. Because it's
Huh.
like popular among people.
So, so yes, popular, important, famous. Let's say you really don't have any idea dan you adalah seorang pelajar yang sangat lemah dalam BI. So you can use this either one. Janganlah guna tiga-tiga. Either one to give that what reason?
Okay, so we have this one. Well, I am not the admin here, so I cannot highlight this. Admin, can you please highlight this question? What if I panic and gave a factual inaccurate reason? Do I lose mark? No, you don't lose mark.
No, you don't.
Because
You
basically
don't.
what's going to happen is this, in a normal conversation, people say all sorts of things,
Yes.
things that make sense, things that are completely nonsense. But then the discussion's happening, the conversation's going, you manage to get message across. What we want to see in that, during the discussion is for you to be able to, if it is, like a universal known facts. For example, mango is a king of fruit. I mean, come on lah. Can everybody know? People in Zimbabwe also know that durian is a king of fruit. So if that is, so wrong, like glaring sangat your error though, that factual inaccuracy, then you are not gonna lose mark, but you
You are
will
going
see
to know. This is
smirk lah kan.
yes.
But no, we don't really penalize much. During
Maybe
your speaking test, kita tak cari ruang untuk kita tolak markah you. Kita cari
yes.
ruang untuk kita bagi you markah. Okay?
It's
So
just that
that
we
you have to
want you
understand.
to speak. It's just a
Yeah.
speaking test. Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
So far, you all clear? Can you see like the flow of the discussion there? Please like in the comment section box. Sorry, in the live chat box. Sat comment section lah, apa macam-macam sangat ni. Okay, moving on. We've come to the second part of the discussion, which is making a decision together. Okay, so here, when you want to make a decision, just now you have already discussed. Okay, now you are going to make a decision together. So the question is going to be something like this. Now you have about a minute to decide together which is the most popular reason people shop online. So based on that, in the previous discussion that you have, what you're going to do now is come up with a decision. So it's going to be different. Okay, so how do you discuss in order to make a decision? So you will, sorry, Allah. Now, for this part of the discussion, you do not have to talk about all the prompts. Tadi, discussion yang awal tadi, you have already discussed, point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, for example. So now, bila cikgu minta you make a decision, you don't have to cover all the prompts. You choose only one. Sebab apa? Because for this part, berapa banyak masa kita ada, Sarah? How much time do we have?
I think it's still 2 minutes. 1 minute.
It is 1 minute, yeah.
1
only
minute.
1
Just
minute.
a 1
yeah.
minute.
Yeah, so 1 minute, fly by macam tu aja. So you don't have time to cover everything. In this part, you want to show that you know how to negotiate in order to come to an agreement. Itu yang kita nak. So how to do that? Apply Sora-Sora 2.0. So what is Sora-Sora 2.0? Sora-Sora 2.0, speaker 1, what do? Speaker 1, please suggest your choice. Okay, suggest your choice and then give your opinion. After that, give your reason why you say so, and then ask for your partner's opinion. Okay, speaker two, what you're going to do is say again your partner's choice and then agree with your partner's choice. Kawan you dah pilih jawapan ini, you pun pilihlah juga jawapan ini. And then give your opinion, justify your opinion, give reason, and then agree again as a conclusion. This part is very important because it is there in the marking criteria that you are able to come to an agreement, to be on the same page. So how do you make sure that the examiner and the interlocutor can hear that you and your partner are on the same page? Is by you agree again as a conclusion. Ini kena sebut because you know why, Sahara? Sometimes speaking test happens pukul berapa? 3 petang. Berapa speaker pun mengantuk, interlocutor pun letih, panas semua kan. So cakap pun perlahan-lahan, nak bagi markah pun susah. So you must make sure that you sebut this as clear as possible so that the interlocutor and examiner are aware that you and your partner managed to come to an agreement. Okay, so how do we do this? So step 2 you kena ingat lah. So basically again, this is my map. So speaker 1, when you want to suggest your choice, you can say, Husna, why don't we choose this one? Husna, what do you think we should decide on? Okay, janganlah, hi Husna, how are you? Today, teacher asked us to discuss and decide something. Tak payahlah, you dah habis discussion dah duk.
Habis dah seminit kat situ je.
Hello, how are you? Orang kata pening kita, okay? And then give your opinion, sama aja. Reason pun sama, as for partner's opinion, sama. Okay? Moving on. Okay, speaker 2, how do you respond? You say again and agree with your partner's choice. Well, that's a good idea, as you said. That sounds great. I also think that. And then give opinion, give reason. And to agree again as a conclusion, you cakap macam mana? Husna, I guess we both agree that, well, Husna, I am glad we can agree that this is, the decision that we decide. Okay? So let's look at sample discussion on how to make a decision.
I go with speaker 1 again.
Okay, all right, you go with speaker 1.
Shorter.
Okay.
Why don't we choose this one?
Okay.
I think people shop online because online shops give better prices. I say this because can buy straight from the factory without any middleman. What do you think, Raj or Aiman?
I know. Well, Sarah, I totally agree with you. As you said, people like to shop online because, it gives them better prices. So as for me, I think because there are so many online stores, all of the online stores are trying to give the best price to customers. Well, I say this because they offer many rewards, vouchers, and discounts to attract customers with attractive prices. Well, Sarah, I am glad we can agree that people shop online because it gives them better prices. That's it. 1 minute. Itu. So basically, these are the things that we want to see in your discussion. We don't want you to know when we ask you to make a decision together and decide which one is the best, is the main reason why people shop online. You bisik with your partner. Irene duk bisik dengan siapa? Alia ke? And then after 1 minute, teacher, we choose this one. Tak maulah macam tu. That is not what is supposed to be. Okay, you negotiating with your friend, macam you nak decide where you want to eat lah, kan? You hang out with your friends and then you want to decide where you should eat. Nak makan kat mana? Aku nak makan sini lah, sini macam ni, sini macam ni, those things. So we want to see that happen.
And Aiman, we forgot to tell them, do you think, students, you have time to think for this part?
Do you have time to think?
No, okay. Actually, there's no time to think. Interlocutor tanya je, you have to start answering.
Yeah,
Dia tak ada masa.
exactly.
You don't have 20 seconds to think. Part
Yeah.
ni, you don't have time to think. So, what is my suggestion is that masa that first 20 second tu, you decide, dengan cepat. Masa 20 second tu gunakan dengan elok. So you just ask immediately your friend, okay, which one you want to choose? The best reason ke, the best way ke apa? Then it will be easier for you to discuss this part. So you have to remember there's no thinking time for this.
Okay. Yep. With that being said, so you must immediately. So that is why it actually, it really doesn't really matter for me lah. If you want to choose any of those points for you to decide on, try to choose the points that you have already discussed. If let's say you have covered point one up until point four, then choose either point one, in until point four. Don't choose point five or point six where you didn't discuss previously. Okay, because you have to do lots of thinking. All right. So far, are you all clear with how to make a decision? Please write in the live chat box. Saya duduk seronok sendiri kan, Sarah kan. Okay, now let's look at this further discussion task. Now, further discussion task, most teachers like to call this the kebat question. Okay, and students when they hear kebat question, okay, they'll be like, susah ni soalan susah. So you see, I feel like if you know that this question is going to be difficult, if you feel like this question is going to be something that you don't know how to respond, so establishing that will give you time for you to prepare on how to manage the question. Okay, so katakanlah this is a question. Let's say this is a question that you will get. You've been talking about why people shop online, and now let's hear your opinion on this. In what ways does advertising on social media influence people's buying behavior? Hmm. So, what can we do? Okay, now if you listen to, if you look at this question, did I say now you have some time to think of what you're going to say? Hmm. So again, like part this making decision for this part of the test, you were not given time to think. 20 seconds for you to think to tak ada. So here, you are expected to be able to respond spontaneously. Okay? Jadi how to respond spontaneously. In this part, we are not looking at whether or not your answer is correct. We want to see whether you are able to respond spontaneously first. Okay, of course lah, we don't want you to talk about something that totally not related to this, but then it is more important that you can respond spontaneously. Okay, so what you can do is make sure that you avoid silence. Okay, so what you can do is you buy time for you to think. So let's say lah, Sarah tanya I soalan ni, I'm gonna say, so well, teacher, I've never really thought about that. But I think that, that's a good question. In fact, teacher, I think that's an interesting question. Oh well, let me think. For me, I feel that then only I will give you know, my answer. So if let's say I have something to say, soalan dia apa atau lupa already. Okay, because because you see, advertising on social media, I think that many vendors or businesses uses influencers and celebrities to advertise their product, and I feel that when you see this coming up and popping up in your FYP, definitely you feel, you have this fear of missing out, and that is why many people would like to try anything that went viral on social media. So let's say that's my answer. But then, kalau I tak tahu nak jawab, how do I answer? I can say something like this. Well, teacher, I'm going to be very honest. I've never really thought about that, but I think that's a really good question. In fact, teacher, I think that's an interesting one. Oh, well, let me think. Well, for me, I would say that perhaps money. Thank you very much. What do you think, Rizwana? So I just say anything that comes to my mind and then I just pass the baton to Rizwana. But I responded spontaneously. And then I let Rizwana talk. And then if I feel like, after giving it some thought, then I have like idea, then probably I will interrupt Rizwana, during her turn. And then find my way back lah, in answering the question because just now I wasn't able to answer. Okay? So far, clear with how
And
to respond?
can I add one more?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I think Aiman forgot about it. Okay, you can how can you buy time in another way rather than what Madam Aiman said? Satu lagi cara yang paling senang. You
Ha,
ask
apa
the
cara tu?
interlocutor. Oh, teacher, I selalu panik. Jangan panik. Okay. What you can
Oh,
do is
yeah.
that you can ask your interlocutor to repeat the question.
Mm.
Ask the interlocutor to repeat the question. Teacher, can you please repeat the question? So bila dia sedang membaca dan sedang repeat, you sambil itu please think of what you can answer. It's that way. So don't forget.
Mm. Irene here asks, how many times can we ask them? You can ask your interlocutor only,
Once.
once. Okay, you ask if you feel like you ask once, and then if let's say partner you macam okay still not pretend as if you still don't understand, perhaps your partner asks once and then that's it, but you cannot ask many times. It will give an impression that both of you do not understand the question. Okay, so it is all just an act as well. You don't show to people, jangan do buat teruk in front of your interlocutor and assessor. Apa tu? Janganlah. Okay, just chill even though you don't know the question. So I didn't put this in my slide, Sahara, but this is what I share with my students as well. If you feel like you have like a paper and pen, please jot it down. Step one that I would always do with my kids is I ask them to praise the question. Step one is you praise the question. Wow, teacher, that is a very interesting question. I think, but it is very challenging. It's very challenging. I never really thought about that. I never thought that, this is something that we can think of. Or, praise the question. What a challenging question. Oh, that's a very difficult one, but very interesting. So you praise the question. Step number two, you admit that you don't know. It's okay to admit that you don't know because in
Yes.
normal conversation, if I ask you about BTS, do you know BTS? Tiba. Okay, so probably Sahara would have, yeah, well, to be honest, I don't know much about BTS. So, it's okay because you don't know everything. So, you see, admitting that you don't know about stuff is okay. So, how do you admit that you don't know things? I'm really sorry, teacher, but to be honest with you, I am not very familiar with this topic because this is not something that we normally talk about in our, me and my friends. We don't really discuss much on this, so I might be wrong. Admit that you don't know.
Yes.
Don't say, teacher, I don't know. Teacher, I don't know. That is like, the worst thing that you can ever do. Don't say that. I might be wrong. I'm not very familiar. Is like sugarcoat it a little bit. And the last step, then only you express your opinions. In my personal opinion, the way I see it, after having much thought, well, teacher, after some very serious consideration, I would say the way I see it is, basically, you just like beating around the bush before you actually answering the question. Okay, and that is how you can drag your time, because for this particular question you are expected to answer it in like 1 minute. Ada 2 minit for this part, so like 1 minute for you and 1 minute for your partner, depending on who will dominate this part lah. Tak ada, we don't specifically say okay, candidate one answer first and then candidate two. No, whoever wants to answer can do that. All right. Okay. Okay, do you have any question that you would like to ask before we ask you question?
Do you
Okay.
want to know something from us extra? I mean, you want us to explain more?
All right. If you don't ask me question, I will ask you question. Okay, let me give you a situation. Okay. If let's say, when you look at this, what do we call that, mind map? Let's assume, what if speaker two do not know the meaning of point number four, which is convenient. Okay, what should speaker two do? Should speaker two, skip his or her part, or how? How do you think is the best way to approach this? You can write in the comment section box so that we can like go through it together. Okay. Ya Allah, duk bersembang kat sini. Ni, I tengok screenshot pergi sekolah aku cari seorang-seorang. Okay. So yeah, how do you address it? If let's say skip that one and take the easier one. Irene, if let's say you skip that one, you take the easier one, what do you think speaker one should do? Speaker one akan ask you question. What do you think, Irene? Do you have anything to add? You know? Can the assessor define the definition of convenient and put it in a sentence? Nope. The assessor will not define. Actually, the assessor will not do any kind of talking. You'll be
Yes.
talking to your interlocutor, actually, your own teacher. But yep, your own teacher will not going to define anything. You are on your own. So if let's say this happened, okay, Irene, do not skip your part. Irene, in Sora Sora, you have 4 steps. S is say again and agree with your partner. Irene, you pay attention, Marah pula.
Tak apa, faham.
Okay? Irene, what you're going to do here is you are speaker 2. You are going to respond to your partner, speaker 1, talking about better prices. So your friends have talked about better prices, blah, 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 blah. And then your partner asks you, do you have anything to add, Irene? So how are you going to respond? Well, I completely agree with you. As you said, people shop online because it gives them better prices. So do you think, Irene, you tak tahu nak cakap tentang convenient. Do you think you can talk about better prices? Okay, so you have already heard. You heard already apa? Speaker one cakap apa about dia punya point. So if you feel like you don't know to talk about your own point, you cannot give reason why it is convenient, tak tahu nak elaborate on that, elaborate on step S. Perhaps, you can add your own experience ke,
Yes.
getting better prices online and things like that, so that you will like compensate the fact that later for your own point, which is convenient, you do not know how to justify it. So bila you tak boleh nak do step R, you compensate in step S so that you talk more in step S. And to talk more in step S, I feel like it's very easy because kawan you dah sebut everything. You are basically like, just repeating back whatever it is your friends have said. And benda ni tak akan jadi issue. Why? Because you tak makan point dia. Kawan you dah cakap everything that your friends want to say. What you do is just repeating what your friends have said. So Irene, do not skip your part. Follow the flow what you can do is probably skip step R. Okay? Skip step R. You do step S, O, and A. Clear? Cik, sementara nak tunggu. Dia delay kan?
And also, let's say you do not know really how to give reason, you can explain by giving your own experience. You can
Yeah,
explain
exactly.
by giving examples. So you think of any ways, kan? Kalau tanya saya, example is really easy, and also you can give like your own experience.
Hmm,
Let's say,
betul.
is that
Because you see
things
kan
are very
Sarah kan,
easy.
you see Sarah, my reason for saying this because okay Sarah, I'm gonna give you an example. Because that is what you do. You know, you nak bagi reason tapi you tak tahu nak cakap macam mana. You kata, okay lah aku bagi hang contoh lah. Aku bagi kau contoh Contoh macam ni. Okay, so you give like, you know, a real life experience. Instead of like a factual, you know, arguments to justify your reason. Okay?
It's okay. Kalau you tak tahu, just give shorter, simpler version kind of reasons. Jangan fikir, don't think complicated things. Makes life easier tu kan. So think like, tapi if let's say you don't understand particular vocab, then you do as what Madam Aiman say. Then it works.
Okay? Yeah. So that is one way. Now let's say, any other question would you like to ask? Because otherwise, I pula nak tanya lagi ni. Oh, tak habis-habis nak tanya. Dah 9:30. Let's say, Sarah,
Yes.
let's say we said here that students need to, you know, follow what do we call that clockwise. Okay, starting from point number 1, you know, until point number 6. Let's say point number 1 is a difficult point. And speaker 1 cannot start from point number 1 because he feels like, this is difficult, I cannot. Is it okay if speaker 1 want to start from point number 3 or point number 5?
For me, okay, for my students, I say it is fine because as long as he doesn't, you don't take the speaker tools one, but you still
Yeah.
use your point and you do what you know first.
Yes, exactly. So you see, that is why it is very important that you practice with your friend. Irene, Hazik, whatever, Afik, Ikram, Elisha. It is very important that you practice this many times with your partner so that you can build that chemistry. What do I mean by chemistry? What I mean with chemistry is bila Haziq jeling dekat Nick macam dah okay aku tahu. Okay, I got you brother. You know? Because you have done this. I have this one time last year lah, my batch last year. They practice this so many times that you know they can start from wherever and they're able to have that really good flow. Okay? They don't want to use clockwise, they do it counterclockwise. Fair enough. Okay? They don't want to
Or
start from point number 1, they start from point number 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2. Fair enough? Okay?
And also sometimes you can think it's not just in clockwise or anti-clockwise. You can
No.
also see like you take the bottom one, I take the
Mm,
top one. So
mm,
speaker one take follow the trend, no crowds, time saving. Speaker tu pula ambil yang kat bawah 3. So you can always divide among your friend,
mm,
whichever convenient, whichever yang easy untuk you.
mm. Yeah.
Let's say you don't want to go like this, you go this way, or but it's okay if you have practice. Let's say you have practice with your friend, then it's going to be easier. Tak
The
gaduh lah waktu SPM. Weh, you ambil ni. Weh, I ambil ni. Because
mm,
we have seen students fighting. You ambil ni
mm.
sebab susah. This one susah. I cannot. You do. Habis.
And then lawan jeling pula. Oh, lawan jeling. Dia paling tak tahan sekali kan. So, don't lah jeling-jeling your friend in front of the, you know, assessor kan. So, jangan macam tu. Ultimately, my point is practice a lot with your friends. Do practice like every day until you and your friend establish and build that chemistry. Having that chemistry will help you a lot. Many students feel like, I can speak English very well, but then what they don't know is, during speaking tests, even though you will get marks separately, but if you cannot handle the situation, bukan masalah vocab, we're not talking about vocab or grammar tau Sarah, we're talking about you do not know how to handle the problem, that the communication punya difficulties tu with you and your partner during that speaking test, itu yang menyebabkan many students are not able to do well in their speaking test.
Yes,
Okay?
exactly.
Mm. So, yeah. So that is one thing. Okay. Let's say another question. What if speaker, any of the candidate, like speaker one lah, if I say speaker one, do not know how to pronounce the word. Okay? Tak tahu nak sebut convenient ke, or tak tahu nak sebut variety ke. So what can you do? Can you say like, why people shop online is because ni apa ni teacher, ni apa ni, tak faham ini apa ni, or tanya kawan, weh nak sebut macam mana, aku tak tahu. No, you don't do that with your partner. Don't do that in front of the interlocutor. Instead, what you can do is, Shifa, what do you think about this point? Use your body language, point towards the mind map, like show it to your friends, look at each other. What do you think of this point? Point up, point towards the mind map. Instead of saying, janganlah macam tu. Okay? Kesimpulan je, jangan buat teruk lah. Okay, speaking test ni sebenarnya senang je. Kalau you really do like what I said, you will not have any issues. Okay?
I remember one of your student, I think she said she gets panic, right? So jangan panik, buat santai-santai tapi mesti ada content lah. Janganlah sampai santai sangat, right? Tapi
You know what?
relax.
You know why they panic? Because they look at my face. Tengok muka I memanglah panic. Kita pula dia jeli macam tu kan. Sebenarnya sis tak jeling pun. Sis macam senyum je. Tapi semua ingat sis marah kan. No. Okay, so don't look at the interlocutor. Don't look at the assessor. What more kan? Avoid making eye contact to the assessor. Instead, when you want to carry out the discussion, look at your friends. You are allowed to actually turn your chair a little bit and look at your partner so that you feel more, calm. Kan, teacher punya stare, kan. So, senyum je. It's
Same,
just the
my
iPad,
students.
iPad I menakutkan tu, or my dark circle.
No, even my students say this. Teacher, if I see your face, tak ingat lagi dia kata. I say,
Such
why
lovely
looking?
things like this kan, Sarah. Apalah mereka ni, okay? Alright, so I guess that's it for tonight. I really hope that we have covered things that worries you with regards to your speaking test. Actually, it's not that difficult. I think if you practice, tengah judging lah teacher. Yalah, we are judging, but okay, so you look here, this is the band score of 3. You can express yourself clearly, though there is some hesitation. Having a little bit of hesitation here and there is okay. Next, you can initiate, you can maintain, you can develop, you can close a conversation with little difficulty. Can ask for clarification and further details in order to move a discussion forward. Ini baru band score 3. Kalau you do like what I said for sorang-sorang ni, you can score higher than band score 3. Our target is to score band score 5 and 6 for communicative competence. You will be able to do this if you practice this enough with your partner. Okay? So, yep. I guess that's it for tonight. Betul ke, admin? Dah habis
And
kan?
I think, yeah, so relax lah. Okay, relax. Berlatih. The important thing is you practice with your friend, do everything, and ask your teachers. Surely they will help you. and don't worry. Okay, March, we will
Mm.
see you in another session. I think, Aiman, do you want to say anything?
I think that's it for today. I really hope that you practice this with your friends, because no matter how good you are, but in the end, you're like, no, showing off, not having a discussion, tak ada markah pun for you. Remember, you must show that you can discuss with your partner. Not just you cakap seorang and then partner you tak tahu apa. You know, don't know heads or tails of things. So please practice this with your partner with enough time. You know, this is only July. You have ample time for you to practice. And I really hope that our sharing tonight will give you some insights on how to score for your speaking paper. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with
Thank
us
you.
tonight.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good day.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Betul kan? Dah habis kan? Dia tengok. Dia kata, oh, tak habis lagi.
No, we are still in
Admin?
this one.
Ya, biasa.
Aiman.
Okay. Cepatlah cakap, thank you, thank you. Tu.
Thank you.
Alah, I
Okay.
pun
Thanks.
sudah tak tahu nak
Thanks for
cakap apa.
joining us too. Thanks for joining us too. Sebab if you don't join, then we will be talking to ourselves, right? So
Mm-hmm.
thanks for your time. Okay. Thank you
Okay.
so
If you
much.
feel like, some of your friends have missed our session tonight, please share this link with them so that they can have a look at it. Okay? Yep. Okay. Huh. Oh, I bagi heart banyak. Okay, okay, okay. I tak tengok pun online lagi. I need to look at your... Yep. Okay. Yes, thank you. Loh, tak habis lagi ke?